Hi, I'm Mike.
And I'm Dave.
And join us every Thursday for a new episode of Two Player Bros, a podcast about two guys who play way too many video games. Join me and Dave as we talk about the latest in Xbox, PlayStation, PC, and VR news, previews, and reviews. We have it all, and we play it all.
And join us every other week for Post Game, where we play through and dive deep into our favorite modern classics and new releases.
That's Two Player Bros, available every Thursday wherever you get your podcast, part of the Forgotten Entertainment family.
Attention, culture consumers. Join me, the Queen of Queries, Sarah O'Connor, and my band of nerdy knights.
Colleen McMillan.
Flo Siegel.
And Anders Drew.
On Bohemian Geek Studies, where we take extremely dorky dives into our favorite fandoms, especially that Star Wars galaxy far, far away. Listen each week as we examine the stories that mean so much to us. Bohemian Geek Studies is available wherever you get your podcasts and is proudly part of the Forgotten Entertainment family.
Ladies and gentlemen, please notice that exits are conveniently located at the front and rear of this auditorium. When leaving the theater, we suggest that the exit at the front of the auditorium will allow you easier access to the parking areas. Thank you.
Nothing.
You done?
Story elements, Butler. Story is is what we're doing. You're telling me a story.
I'm like, oh, you're done. You're done.
He hasn't. He's still leaping, but he's not home yet. All right. They just need to do the episode before everyone dies.
Ziggy.
So when he has sex with them,
they bang. You're ready. Me.
talking about movies, talking about 80s. Let's go. Hello, I'm Mike Field.
And I'm Mike Butler.
And you're listening to the Forgotten Cinema Podcast. Each episode, we highlight a film that, for a variety of reasons, was forgotten by audiences. Whether it's because a more popular movie was released at the same time, or the movie simply didn't catch on with an audience in its initial run. We'll discuss what we love about the movie, or perhaps don't love about it, but we'll always recommend you revisit it. If you enjoy our podcast, please feel free to rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, or wherever you're listening to this podcast right now. What's up? Season 10 begins. Season 10, double digits.
That's right.
Nice. I can't believe we have gone this far.
Wait, what? Yes, it is.
What? Wait.
I'm editing season 9, so I'm like, wait.
No. Everybody knows that we're 10 weeks ahead, and we get yelled at because it's ridiculous that you're so far ahead. I know.
We should be on season 11 right now.
Oh, no, that's a little too far ahead. I don't know. I can't even remember them. Half the time when we're like have to do the commercials or not. Yeah, the commercials, but also the promos. I'm just like, what are we doing? What movies this week? Because I'm always confusing it with the movie we did in the broadcast, in the podcast. All right. Well, why don't you let everyone know what our movie's about, what it is.
We are doing the 1987 The Secret of My Success, starring Michael J. Fox. If I had a collar, I would pop it now because this movie is so 80s. Recent college graduate Brantley Foster travels from his home in Kansas to New York City to pursue a new finance job. However, when Brantley arrives, he learns that his position has been eliminated, and he's forced to take a job working for his inept Uncle Howard, who became a company president through marriage. Brantley starts as a mere mailroom worker, but quickly climbs the corporate ladder when he begins posing as an executive.
It's so stupid enough it works.
It is so 80s.
The Secret of My Success has a runtime of 111 minutes. It's rated PG-13. Production budget of $12 million. It came out on April 10th, 1987, a Friday. Opening weekend, I did $7.7 million. Domestic, I'm rounding up. Domestic, it did $70 million. Nice job. Worldwide, it did $111 million. So this is a pretty big hit.
The world loves Michael J. Fox.
It's actually the 7th highest grossing film of 1987.
Wow.
Outgrossing movies such as RoboCop, Predator, Lethal Weapon, and Dirty Dancing. It's a big time hit.
Damn.
I know, right? It was number one at the box office for the first 5 weeks. Okay. So production company was Rastar, that's right?
Yeah, that's how I pronounce it.
All right. Distributed by Universal Pictures. I told everybody it came out on the 10th of April. It went up against the re-release of the Aristocats and a limited release, John Dye, Gothic, Amazing Grace and Chuck, 3 for the Road, and Making Mr. Right. So not a lot of things it went up against.
I don't think I've seen a single one of those films except for maybe the Aristocats when I was really little.
I've seen Amazing Grace and Chuck and the Aristocats, obviously. The week after, the 17th, you had Project X, the Matthew Broderick, Helen Hunt, Let's Save the Chimps from Being Tested On. You never saw Project X?
I've seen parts of Project X.
And a little movie called Raising Arizona.
No idea what that is.
April 3rd, the week before, you had Police Academy 4, Citizens on Patrol. Do you like you don't like any of the Police Academy movies?
I like the first two. I can't really remember if I like the third, but I think the fourth is where I remember watching and going, this is dumb.
I like the fourth one's okay. The fourth one's got a lot of I can't remember her name. She's really small, mousy voice, and she's like she's in the fourth one, I think, or maybe she's in the third one. I don't know. I would venture a guess that watching them now, you're probably having a lot of cringeworthy moments in those movies.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah,
that's not great. But back then they made 6.
At least 6, yeah. I think they made 6.
This is the last Gutenberg one, right?
Yeah, 4 is the last Gutenberg one, and I think they made 2 more with some of the people returning.
They did make 6 because I think 5 is they're down in Miami because that's when it has Hey Dork with his dork on his.
Oh, that's the Miami one. Yeah, I've seen the Miami.
And
one.
the 6th one, I'm pretty sure they went to Russia or they were in Moscow or something like that.
Okay.
For the life of me, I cannot remember what 3 or 2 are about.
I remember I watched 2 and 3, and I remember 2 being pretty good still.
Yeah. No, so, anyways, that's our Police Academy knowledge. Join us in the fall of 2021 as we do yet another Police Academy podcast where Butler will for sure be canceled. Okay, so this movie is directed by Herbert Ross. He has been nominated for an Oscar for The Turning Point. He also directed Footloose and The Goodbye Girl. He's also a producer, and I'm just going to give you some of the movies he produced, as well as directed. I don't know if he directed this one. I think he did, though. The 7% Solution, Max Dugan Returns, Protocol, Steel Magnolias, True Colors, My Blue Heaven, and Boys on the Side. He did, in fact, direct most of those. Screenplay was written by Jim Cash and Jack Epps Jr. They actually wrote a screenplay that was originally written by A.J. Carruthers. So Cash and Epps Jr. are a writing team. They have done Top Gun, Legal Eagles, Turner and Hooch, Dick Tracy, an episode we did a while back, Anaconda, and the Flintstones in Viva Rock Vegas. And Carruthers has done Goodnight Beantown, which was a TV show, Hero at Large, and The Happiest Millionaire. Cinematography by Carlo Di Palma. He has done Manhattan Murder Mystery. He's actually done a lot of the Woody Allen films, including Bullets Over Broadway. He's also done Radio Days. Composer David Foster. David Foster was nominated for several Oscars, but they've been mainly for songs in movies. So like The Karate Kid Part 2, he wrote Glory of Love. And The Bodyguard, he wrote I Have Nothing. Those are both nominated. He did The Prayer in the movie Quest for Camelot. He was nominated for that. And he also composed the music for St. Elmo's Fire, which makes absolute sense when I just listed off 2 songs that everyone probably knows. And St. Elmo's Fire is just full of music that everyone knows.
Right.
Edited by Paul Hirsch, who did a movie called Star Wars Empire Strikes Back. He edited that movie. He actually won the Oscar for that edit. Excuse me. He won an Oscar for editing Star Wars, and then he also edited Empire Strikes Back. I apologize. He also did Ferris Bueller's Mission Impossible and Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. And then now let's get into the cast as I stumble through that. Michael J. Fox plays Brantley Foster and Carlton Whitfield. I don't know if anyone knows who Michael J. Fox is, but he's obviously in Back to the Future, the TV show Family Ties, where you got to start, Midnight Madness, which is a movie that I like, Teen Wolf, and TV show Spin City, and the TV show Good Wife. So yeah, well, I hope you all know who Michael J. Fox is. Maybe you don't know who Helen Slater is, who plays Christy Willis.
She's Supergirl, man.
That was her first movie.
Was that her first movie?
Yes, I did not realize that. She's also Billie Jean in The Legend of Billie Jean. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie.
No, I know of it, but I've not seen that.
Ruthless People, and more recently, she's in the TV show The Lion Game.
Ruthless People is really good.
Richard Jordan plays Howard Prescott. He is in The Hunt for Red October. He's got one of my favorite lines in that movie when he's like, I'm a politician, and if I'm not kissing babies, I'm stealing their lollipops. So I like it. Anyways, he's also in Dune, The Mean Season, and Logan's Run. Fun fact, well, not a fun fact, but sad fact. So Richard Jordan was going to play Dr. Nichols in The Fugitive, but then
that's the character he was going to play.
He was going to play the Nichols character. Then he had a brain tumor at ill, and he passed away. I think he had to drop out, and then he passed away I think months later, which is very sad, obviously. But I think he would have been awesome as Nichols.
He would have been. That would have been a good role.
Yeah. Margaret Whitten as Vera Prescott. I am today's day old that I realized that I just discovered that she's actually the owner in Major League 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that. For the life of me, I didn't know that.
As soon as she appeared on screen, I knew that.
I did not know that. I just, and she's in The Best of Times.
I didn't know.
She plays Darla.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so she's in the, we did The Best of Times, everyone. And she's also in the TV show The Doctor. She passed away actually 5 years ago, 2016. So that's another sad. I'm really bringing
A
everything
lot
down.
of dead people in this movie. Man.
There are a lot of people that have passed. I don't know if I texted you this.
You did.
I
You're
did.
Like, it's sad when we research movies and you find out they're all passed away.
Yeah, especially
then-
like a lot of these people I remember watching.
I was looking this up last night after I watched it, going, "Oh man, he's right." Like
I know, and then I got
and
to
like young.
and I got to John Pankow, and I'm like, oh god, is he dead? So he plays Fred. He's also in the TV show Mad About You, TV show episodes, and the movie To Live and Die in L.A. Christopher Murney as Barney, or as he tells Brantley in this movie, "You can call me God." He's in Slapshot, Maximum Overdrive, and the TV show Remember When, which is an AMC show, which I went back and watched the trailer for that, and I'm actually going to try to watch that if I can find it.
Is that a newer show?
It's an older show, but it's about a radio play, like not a radio play, so a radio station, I think back during World War II, and it's supposed to be like slapstick. AMC did it. It has like 5 seasons. It looked funny. Yeah, it looked pretty good. Jerry Bammon as Art. He's in Home Alone. He's the uncle in Home Alone that we all hate. He's also in Hiding Out. Do you remember Hiding Out?
You little shit.
Do you remember Hiding Out with John Cryer, where he's the Wall Street guy and he's gonna get killed. Someone's going after him because he discovered a secret, and so he dyes his hair and hides in high school as a student.
No.
Yeah, you gotta watch that movie. You want to talk about 80s?
That's an 80s
film.
plot.
Yeah. He's also in The Bodyguard, which I don't remember what part. Carol Ann Susi as Jean, the secretary in this movie. She's the voice of Wolowitz's mom in Big Bang Theory. She obviously passed away during the show in 2014. She's also in My Blue Heaven. And then I got a bunch of kind of cameos here that we'll get to. Like Fred Gwynn is in this movie, plays Davenport. For those who don't know, he's in My Cousin Vinny and the Munsters. Mercedes Rule as the waitress, Sheila. She's in Last Action Hero, which is what we did.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as I saw Mark Margolis as the maintenance man, I'm like, hey, that's Hector Salamanca from Breaking Bad. Bruce McGill is in this movie. The only thing you need to know about Bruce McGill is that he's in Quantum Leap, the first episode and the last episode. Cindy Crawford has an appearance in this. She's in the fantastic film Fair Game. That is said with sarcastic tone. And then Bill, I'm going to say his name wrong. Bill Fagerbakke is in as Ron. He was the tall blonde guy that worked for Howard, like his one of his executives.
Okay.
He's Dauber and Coach, but he's also the voice of Patrick in SpongeBob SquarePants.
Oh, is he?
Yes. So, yeah, little fact there. All right.
Nice.
Okay, so that's it. We'll get to some other stuff. I got a little notes here and there. I got a lot of viewing notes for this movie. You never saw this movie, right?
I've seen this movie, but I was probably in middle school when I watched this on like Comedy Central.
Yeah, so
I know I've seen it,
yeah.
but I just remember he was doing a double life thing. That's
yeah.
That's all I remember.
I always remember. I've seen this a couple times, not recently. So there was some stuff. Like one of my notes is like, there's a lot of sex in this movie, like lots of sex. Just people hooking up, people getting. It is.
I thought there'd be more sex.
Well,
but
PG-13, so it can't go too far. Although you do see her breasts in the pool.
That's one of my notes. Is
It's like, whoa, PG-13, PG-13.
They didn't cut that very well.
But you also in that scene, did you notice that when she takes off his pants, you can see
he's got tidy whities on. Yeah, under.
No, he's got the skin color.
Oh, is it the skin color thing? Yeah,
I was like, oh, I just saw that. But
bad cut. Well, tit for tat.
So I guess I don't know. What's your first reaction to the movie?
My first reaction? You want to know my first reaction? Is my first note in this entire thing. Okay. So 80s! Exclamation point.
Well, what point did you write that?
As soon as the montage music popped up, as soon as the dad said his line of like, I don't know why you want to go to New York City. I'm like, oh man.
The 80s montage music game is tight in this film.
Dude, I was all in as soon as that popped up. I was like, yes.
Yes, it is. This is like, it is definitely, you would not, if you just showed somebody this movie and they watch it and you're like, guess the decade, they're going to guess. They're going to know exactly where it is.
It's awesome. It's so 80s. I mean, the movie is good, but I think the fact that it's so 80s, like you can't do this movie the same way now. I think that 80s style really helps make this movie what it is.
Well, this movie has a lot more. I mean, it's a comedy, but this movie has a lot more
story.
Yeah, like dramatic elements in it.
Yeah, I enjoyed this movie and it was fun. It's a fun movie. I wouldn't say it's a funny movie. There were a couple of moments where I did laugh. There were a couple of really like good funny jokes and good funny moments, but for the most part, it's just a fun movie.
Yeah, and well, I mean, we're fairly intelligent people.
Yeah,
do you even understand what they did at the end? Like how they
got the company to buy the controlling stock of the.
They got
investors
those guys, yes,
to let Brantley own a controlling stock in the company.
But see, this is the thing. They bought 5% of the other company,
right?
But they never explain this. But when Vera walks in, she's like, I own 50.1% of the company. But it's like, okay, well, when did you buy that? Like, what stock did you buy there? And how does Howard not realize that? Like, he is so flippant with like cheating on his wife.
Right.
How does he not realize that she is just a mere percentage point away from just taking control of the company?
I think Howard thinks that him and Vera have an understanding,
right,
where she knows he's a philanderer and he allows her to do her thing. And it's just always been that way. It's only when Christy kind of rebukes him finally for the last time, he's just like, all right, I need to catch Vera in the act. I need something where I can kind of show Christy that I'm all in, that he's even considering that. The rest of the time, it's just kind of like, nah, me and my wife, we're good, even though they're clearly not good.
Yeah.
So I think that's his like pompous attitude, his thinking that he's always on top.
Well, I mean, at that point, I think you really don't care, because obviously we really don't care about the incestuous relationship that was happening between the aunt and Brantley. Mind you,
Vera didn't mind either.
Mind you, I think the implication was the fact that they are very distant relatives.
Right.
Yeah.
Howard's the one that's blood.
But it's
super
so
distant.
It's so distant, yeah, because he's like, you're the Kansas Fosters or whatever. It's for whatever.
A long tail from there.
Yeah. So to that point, when their first meeting, when he first meets Howard and he goes in the office, I wrote down, because he starts asking for a job and then he goes into this monologue and I'm like, for your consideration, Michael J. Fox.
I wrote down that I liked the monologue. I thought it was pretty good.
There's a lot of moments in this movie that I was just kind of like, what? And the first thing that popped into my mind was when he first sees Christy and drinking from the water fountain. God. And it just goes to this, like, where are we? It goes to this esoteric 80s and this giant sculpted painting behind her. And she's just like walking.
The abstract painting and her dress that matches it.
Yeah. I'm just like, what is happening?
Also, nobody drinks water from a water fountain that sexy.
My note is like, when I first laid eyes on you drinking from that water fountain like a robot, I know.
Yeah. She's like... No one does that. No one drinks from a water fountain well.
Well, I have in my note here is that the palm of the cinematographer. The note is, it says he visually designed the moment, and I'm assuming that's when Brantley meets Christy, to be a pictorial presentation of his dreams and ambitions.
Right.
And yes, that is what it is. But also, real quickly, his ambitions are really, really high. Like, next time I come back, it's going to be my own private jet. It's like, are you going to work for this at all? Like,
I'm going to have a beautiful girl. I'm going to have the top office.
Yeah. It's okay. It's great to have those ambitions, but like, I don't think you're getting them after 6 months.
He does.
Well, I guess just basically sleep around and you're going to get what you need.
It's the secret to his success.
That's what it is.
Yes.
Supposedly, this film is inspired by the early Hollywood experiences of Spielberg sneaking onto the Universal Studios lot. If everyone doesn't know that, I guess he just walked onto the lot and just started pretending that he worked there.
He found an old, I believe he found an old art department office that was like off of the main building, and they were only using like 2 of like the 8 rooms. So he took a room, snuck through the window every day, and started writing. I love that story about Spielberg.
Yeah, but if you're not good at what you do, then that's not gonna. If you're not like, if that's Joe Schmo and he sucks at making movies, he ain't lasting long.
Oh yeah. No. That's how legends are born, or people just get arrested and go to jail. There's only 2 ways that ends, which is what Fred kind of tells Foster. It's like, there's 2 ways this ends. You either stay a suit or you get fired.
Yeah. Fred must have said consort with suits like 10 times in 5 minutes of the movie. Just kept saying it.
Absolutely.
To the point I was like, shut up. I don't want to hear it anymore.
Suits. Don't say suits. Suits, man. Suits. Suits. Watch out for suits. Fields. Wait.
Suits.
Don't consort with suits.
I consort with suits.
What I don't like is like the scene afterward. He's saying good morning to all the suits, and they're all like, "Oh, good morning," and he's all happy about it.
Yeah.
But you never get a scene where he like really connects back with the the underlings, like the mailroom clerks and the secretaries. You never really get that.
Well, one of my notes here is that he starts morphing into a sleaze.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a bad lesson.
He just starts doing things and saying things where he's just, it's not like, hey, I'm a go-getter, I'm getting stuff. He's like, I need you to do this, I need you to do this. It's like, okay, so I'll be back. It's like, you're kind of morphing into your uncle.
You want to get some Chinese? Get me some Chinese. I want some Chinese.
But I want to talk about one thing that I think, I don't know if you can just say, well, it's the 80s. He pursues Christy really hard. Like, really, really hard.
It's the 80s.
Yeah, come on.
No, I have that note too. It's like, no.
My note was like, dude, back off. Jesus.
Yes. You're not charming. You're not clever. You're not witty or funny. It's just, you're just being, so weird.
Yeah,
so weird.
It's like incessant on her about like, hey, what about, hey, what's up? Hey, God, I think you're the most beautiful girl in the world. It's like, dude, move away. It's like, no way with that. Obviously, I don't understand. I don't know. I don't think times have not changed in terms of people acting that way. I think times have changed in terms of people being like, yo, dude, knock it off.
Not being as acceptable. Right.
But it never should have been. But you know what I mean? Like, he is actively,
it's way too much. Even back in the 80s, I think that would be like, she would be, no, she's not ending up with him that way.
Right.
I do think they have moments like in the diner and stuff where he's being a little bit more coy about it. Not coy, but he's being a little bit more charming about it. Right. He's still getting to it. But to the other scenes, like in the office building and when they're on the street afterward, he gets, just way too creepy about it.
Yeah.
Just way too. And he's like right in her ear too.
Yeah.
But this movie is so 80s when they are outside on that street and they are looking at that mannequin for way too long for no reason. I'm like, is that mannequin coming to life? Is this the crossover I didn't know I wanted?
There's nothing wrong with mannequin. Maybe the mannequin's a little weird too. But and then but again, that was one of the moments where he pops in.
That's where he's, that's one of my notes where I get my creepy notes from. I'm like, come on, step back, dude.
Well, let me ask this. I'm curious because I mean, I know we're two dudes, so maybe we can't really answer this. Is Michael J. Fox really a heartthrob? Now we're in the 80s, so this is the age of Tiger Beat.
Yeah, the Michael J. Fox is a good-looking guy.
Yeah,
he's.
Listen, I'll say he's cute, but you're gonna tell me he's a heartthrob, like pretty much everybody in The Outsiders, like that kind of thing. Like, I think
he's different because he's cute, because he's smaller, he's thin, he's got the blue eyes. Like, like you said, we're two guys, so we can't really judge. But I think
we can listen. I'm comfortable.
No, I'm comfortable talking about it. I'm just saying.
Well, you're a little quick there, Butler. It's all right.
We bring about a different opinion, but I think that he is a different kind of leading man and a different kind of heartthrob, a different kind of person that a girl wants to be with.
Right.
Certainly, that's how it helped Back to the Future. That's what got him from Family Ties onto other shows.
But see, here's the thing: that he's coming from Family Ties, where which
he was still filming, by the way.
Yes,
he filmed 2 movies in between.
Yeah, I know. Family Ties is wrapping up in a couple years after this, it wrapped up in '89. So yeah,
but he was doing between 4 and 5. He did this movie and another movie.
That's what they did. The day he finished shooting this movie, the next day was his first day for Family Ties.
Yep.
Yeah. So his role as Alex B. Keaton on Family Ties, and I'm curious if anyone's listening to this, if they've never heard of that, you should watch it. Family Ties is pretty good, although it is rife in the very special episode sections. But like in that and in Back to the Future, he's jokey. It's, you know what I mean? He's more like, it's like in this movie when he is like kissing her, it's like he's going in like, it's like, hey, what's up? Like, I'm just like, that's unseen. Like I can't picture you in that moment. Maybe
that's definitely, those moments is not like, obviously girls aren't going to want that. That's not the Michael J. Fox that I think people want, but I think in terms of just his look. But yeah, I don't think people are watching this movie going, I want a guy who's like that.
While we are on the topic of sex scenes, every time I hear the song "Oh Yeah" from Yellow, I just instantly am conditioned to think about, okay, something sexual is happening on screen.
First of all, that's Ferris Bueller's song.
Well,
and it's a year
same
after.
Director. This is the same director. Same composer.
I really don't care. I was still watching it going, come on, a year after, and you're just using it over and over.
But I always remember the song from this movie. I always do.
I only know it from Bueller, man. I'm like, come on, you can't use it unless you're absolutely doing a Bueller ripoff scene.
No, it's the same composer and director. Why wouldn't they just use the same type of music?
You already used it.
I almost think like they put it in there to have it in there just to go, we'll put something else in there, like just as a placeholder, and it works, and I liked it.
I don't know. It took me out every time it played. I was just like, come on. This is something that you play now to be a harken back to 80s movies. But yeah, something sexual is going to happen or someone has to run away from something. That's what plays when that.
No, that's not the song
That's not the running away song, but you might use it in that kind of situation just to harken back.
So the original script was about Brantley, and I'm assuming this is the one that was written by Carruthers, still works for his uncle, but falls in love with his prostitute.
Right.
But they got rid of that. I guess they said, like, nah, let's not do that.
It seems like a little bit of a Pretty Woman situation kind of thing.
But I'm wondering, was that inspired by Spielberg's life? Ooh. I'm joking. Did you know that Helen Slater was not first cast as Christy?
I did. It was
Christy McNichol.
Yeah, yeah.
So she was the original choice, but she was fired 2 weeks before filming because out of fear that her bipolar disorder would make her difficult to work with. So that's a great look. Good job, guys. Nice job.
Also wouldn't fly nowadays.
Of course not.
You would maybe do it, but you would pay her a lot of money to keep that hush hush.
I don't know back then. I mean,
I'm saying nowadays you would.
No, I got you. I don't know if I don't know. Who knows?
I would assume she still got paid a little bit because 2 weeks before filming.
But I should always couch this with, and I couch this all the time, every other episode. So I'll couch it again in this episode. These are notes off the internet. So they're only as good as the people that put them on there. So that could be complete horse shit and whatever. But, either way, it doesn't look good. There was a sequel proposed, but they never made it.
I'm okay with that.
What's that sequel going to be? Is it good?
I need to get richer.
Is it going to be about how Fred and Jean, for some reason, got a seat at the boardroom table, but like they have no They've, I don't know, what kind of skills do they have?
Again, that's to get, all right, Brett, but Brantley's with the common people. He's with no, he becomes a sleaze.
Yeah, he becomes
the corporate stooges.
He becomes a sleaze, and then we have to watch a closing credit sequence where they go to the opera and they're just running around, dancing, and so he's like, come over here, let's get, yeah. And like they cut to a shot of Christy, and she's looking at her ring in the light, like, what is this?
I've got such a giant ring.
I know.
It's so nice to be super rich. I'm pretty sure Ronald Reagan probably saw this movie and just like jizzed his pants the whole thing.
Whoa. Well, maybe. I don't know. I think Ronald Reagan's a little too young for yuppies. I don't know if he's we can.
Well, it's yuppies turning into the top sleeves. Like, yes.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
It's very
80s business world.
I guess as you get older, it's very difficult to watch a movie and just kind of like root for the rich people. You know what I mean? Like I love when he is meeting all like the rich people montage they start doing. Yeah. And then he's at the gazebo and he's talking and like people are walking up there and go, what could he possibly be talking about that's attracting all these people?
His business acumen.
Right, like his business acumen. Like, what is he bringing up that these people don't already know?
The Declaration of Independence had some flaws. Let me tell you how to build a perfect utopia.
You know what I'm saying, man? Like, you know, like buy low, sell high. And
it's like he's,
what? I never heard of that before.
It's like he's Plato or Socrates. Like
he's not that brilliant.
This is the same guy who 15 minutes ago was taking a stick and composing orgasms.
Yes, yeah. And then proceeds to pop open that beer can, spill the beer all over his bed. Yeah, and be like, yeah, all right. It's like, listen, I know that you're living in a dump. You don't have to treat it like a dump. And if you noticed, so he's sitting at a drafting table, right?
Right.
Okay. Probably 10, 15, 20 minutes earlier, he tells his secretary, this is what I need, drafting table. It's like, so did you take all that home? Is that because I don't remember seeing it in the office?
I don't know. His office gets like filled with so much stuff. I can't tell.
Yeah.
But sure, he took the drafting table home. Why not?
Where's that montage? The secret of my
taking stuff home because I need to put it in the apartment. What about the gunshot scene?
Oh, that my note is that escalated really quickly. So he's on the phone. He's in a phone booth. One of those, I know, right? He's in a phone booth calling home, and these guys go into this bar, I guess, to rob the joint.
Yeah, and
it turns into this full-fledged hostage situation.
Lady runs out screaming, "Police! Police!" Right. They grab her, put a gun to her head, and pull her back in.
Yeah, police jump in. They start firing. Like it like turns into this like obscene. Over the top hostage crisis, and it's like no wonder 80s New York City gets a bad rap. I mean, I know that it was tough, but it's not that tough.
Are you sure?
Would you recommend this to people now, like people that are making movies, or would you like suggest, oh hey, check this out?
I don't know. I mean,
I would.
I like it. I like 80s movies.
I think they'd have to be into 80s films, you think? Or
I think they'd have to be into 80s films. And I think that people younger than us, I don't know, would be into 80s films.
I don't think they would really understand the concept of the yuppies, probably.
Yeah, that's true.
And that kind of mentality, because obviously it's almost, I mean, when you say yuppies, it's not a word used where you're just kind of like, those are nice guys. They're not.
I think the word yuppie disappeared in 1995. I really don't think.
No, I get you.
I don't think anybody in their 20s is going to know what the term yuppie means.
No. A yuppie would be all the guys at the end of Promising Young Women. Those are all the yuppies.
Yeah. Every character in Martin Scorsese's Wall Street that everybody loves so much. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's an 80s movie. It's an 80s comedy. It's got Michael J. Fox. It's got a great cast. It's got some nice moments, or like funny moments. I guess if you were to show someone now, someone like, you want to see something quintessentially 80s, this is a good movie to show them. That's not Back to the Future. Because, I mean, there are certain 80s movies that everybody will have seen. Ghostbusters, Back to the Future, in terms of comedy movies and stuff like that.
You're right.
16 any of those kind of movies, any of the John Waters films or whatever.
You want to see New York in the 80s where they're walking around with dead minks around their shoulders.
Oh, my God. He had like 8 dead minks. I was like, you don't see that anymore. That's gross.
The secret of my
success is I like to kill animals.
You looking for a mink? Got 8 right here.
Would you like to drape this dead animal around your neck?
How about when he talks, when they keep cutting back to him and his parents? They had the beginning of his farmer parents, and they're like, "Why'd you want to go to New York City?" All that.
I could tell him what's in there. How could you tell him if you've never been?
How about the fact that he's talking to his mom? Yeah, Ma, I want to go to the city, experience life. You know, the love of a good woman. Why are you telling your mother that? Your mother doesn't need to know that.
Because he's a sleaze. He's a douche. He's a yuppie.
I want to find a woman and just incessantly ask her out for a month and then wear her down. That's how it is, Mom.
And then when I find out that she's doing the exact same thing that I'm doing, I'm going to call her a bimbo.
Oh, I know. Yeah. You know what? Maybe I don't like him.
Although to be fair, she did steal from him, which is just kind of like he was like extra upset.
But come on, she was just, that was in the beginning before she even knew him.
She should have found out about that earlier. Every part of that whole sequence comes about at the end to wrap up the movie. Yeah. It's like, oh man, we need to finish this up. Mm-hmm. And I like the scene. I like the scene where they're all going into each other's rooms and they all end up together. Like it's very Clue-esque. It's very slapsticky.
Do you like the lamp made out of hooves?
I didn't notice that.
So when he first checks his watch, when Brantley checks his watch to see what time it is, he's next to like this lamp that's got 4 deer hooves that are down and wrapped up, and there's a lamp, and I'm just like, ew. Yeah.
No.
Ew.
No. That's something you see in like Hannibal when they're hunting down the killer, so it looks like he used every part.
It's like killer. At some point he should have been like, what time is it? What the hell is this I'm sitting next to? Yeah.
But all that stuff comes way late in the movie. The whole like, oh, you found out you were spying on me. It's just like completely random. And then the scene in the elevator where they start making out and decide, oh, I've got the plan. Just gets complete like 180 for no reason other than, man, we want to keep this at 2 hours, right?
Do you think it's too long?
When I first started playing it, I think I texted you 1 hour 57 minutes.
You did.
Come on.
You did. That was accurate. 111 minutes, actually.
But when I was watching it, I did not feel like it was long at all because it's good. It moves. It's fun. Like I said, it might not have the most laugh out loud moments, but it's a really fun movie that I really enjoyed.
It's definitely a movie that is of the time.
Yeah,
and that's not and negative and positive. I'm not going to hold any of the negative stuff that we're saying, obviously, about it against it because that's just
it's a different time.
80s. It's own what you did back then and move on.
Right.
But it's definitely of the time. It's the 7th highest grossing film in 1987. So, I mean, that's it. People liked it and it's a hit. And I've always remembered the Katrina and the Waves song from this movie. That's always where every time I hear that song, I'm walking on sunshine. All I think about is this movie because I always remember that. I always love the scene when he's flexing.
I was going to say flexing in the elevator.
We're can you watch these?
Go dry cleaners.
Always remember that scene because I was just it made me laugh out loud when I first saw it.
I like that because it's like, no one's like batting an eye because they're all such douchebags that you can totally believe it.
Yeah.
I love the scene when they're on the rooftop and Prescott's running with his group.
Yeah.
All right, check your pulse. Everyone's got to have the right heartbeat. I think my heart rate's a little too high. I don't care. Let's go. Do you think the Goodyear blimp is in there on purpose or do you think it was just a happy accident for Goodyear?
That's a happy accident because they obviously built that track on that It was
Right.
clear. And I'm looking at the fence going, that fence ain't secure.
not
Like
really
that
safe,
can't
yeah.
be like great.
We're gonna have you guys run on here. Can somebody run on the outside and somebody will run on the inside?
I would be deathly
Yeah.
afraid of tripping. I would just in my head be picturing a massive trip and fall, and I can't catch myself, and I hit the fence, and of course there's a bolt missing.
Oh yeah.
And
It would just take one guy to accidentally bump into you from behind.
yeah. Well, if you haven't seen the movie or if you don't remember the movie, this fence it's probably I'm 6'4". It's probably up to my rib cage.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
even think it's that
It's
high.
like it's the worst. It's not even stronger than a chain link fence, and it's around the top of a skyscraper. And it makes no sense. No sense.
It makes sense if you think this is a utility roof and not for people to be on. It's
Yeah.
not a roof that on like other skyscrapers where you see tables and chairs set up. They built the tracker on the air conditioner units.
Yeah, it's not great.
And then those treadmills that are the incline treadmills with the big old CRT TVs.
Oh, I know. They look like microwaves.
They're all like, because the cameras can't pick it up, it's all flashing. I'm like, I hate one. Like, I get that it's tough because back then the film camera is just going to pick up the refresh rate as it goes up, but I hate when they film TVs back in the 80s because it's just like it looks terrible.
Well, it's just because it's not on the same frame.
I get that, but
That's
it's
why
like
you have the green. They do that now though. They green screen that shit right into the.
so you
tube.
can't see it. Yeah.
Yeah. So anytime you see anybody watching TV on a movie, they're watching blankness. They're watching a green piece of felt.
Well, some of the QLEDs actually don't pick up
that's good.
things, but yeah, anything back then. But like 80s and 90s movies, it's like just turn the camera away from the TV. You don't have to show it.
Listen, get it done.
Or put it blurry in the background.
It was good enough back then. It's good enough now, Butler. I think everything movies can't be perfect. I don't mind seeing mistakes in films, but when the films are done right, because it's just like, okay, because it's
you want to see mistakes? How about the fact that he when he first brings Aunt Vera back to her place in Litchfield, which by the way, that's a hell of a drive from Manhattan.
Yes,
that's upstate Connecticcut.
Litchfield, yeah, you got to go. Yeah,
I looked it up. That's a 3-hour drive.
Oh yeah, no, it's a ride.
That's
listen
not
that yeah. Oh yeah, song lasted the whole time. Play this song on repeat, thank you.
Alexa. Oh wait, 30 years too early.
I want to show you my hoof lamp.
But when they're in the Litchfield house and they go outside and she pours him the whiskey or the scotch or whatever, and he's like drinking it, and then he pretends like, oh okay, and he's like gross, and he throws the whole thing behind him. The very next cut, he's got it front and center. It's filled exactly to the brim.
Yep.
And then he's drinking it. She goes, have another. It's like he wasn't done with that first one.
Yeah, I know. I remember that. Absolutely. So this movie's a hit. We just said.
Right.
Do you think because it's of the decade, because it's of the 80s, that's why we're calling it Forgotten? Because it's so 80s that it is. We're coming up on 40 years since this movie, right? 30 years.
34 years.
34 years. Wow.
I am not 40 years old.
Not yet. Not yet.
I'll never be 40.
Well, then that's a little odd. I'm sorry.
This came out 87. I was born in 87. I mean, when you talk about Michael J. Fox movies, you're going to think about Back to the Future. If you're going to think about another one, you're going to think about Teen Wolf, I think, in terms of his 80s comedies. Mm-hmm. So if you're thinking about Michael J. Fox, those are what you're thinking of.
And Family Ties.
And Family Ties, and where you get started.
Yep.
I mean, I don't think it's completely forgotten. Like, you remember it. I know I saw it when I was very young on TV. But yeah, nowadays, I think it's tough to just see 80s movies on TV. I think that it's now so far removed that your old movies are your 1990 movies.
The thing with Michael J. Fox is that Back to the Future is so iconic that you really don't want to see him in anything else. He's always going to be Marty McFly.
True.
And eventually when Rob Zemeckis passes away and they want to try to do the movie again and remake Back to the Future, which buckle up, it's going to happen. It's going to be very hard for people to separate the Marty McFly character from Michael J. Fox.
For sure.
Yeah. And I mean, like, excuse me, like we have this movie. Then he does another movie after in Bright Lights, Big City, which is also about yuppies, but it's more serious.
Yeah, I saw that popped up after I watched my movie. Would you like to rent this?
It's a darker film. You should see it. Then I always remember Casualties of War, because Casualties of War was a movie that when he was doing it, it was a big deal because he was getting serious. He was doing serious drama.
That's a good movie. I like that movie.
It's tough subject matter, but yes. But like I always remember that because it was such a this is the movie I'm doing. Such a concerted effort to do something different.
Right.
And it didn't really do well in the box office. It's not saying anything about the movie. It just didn't really perform well. And I just always remember that. But yeah, no, there's a lot of movies that he's done that just people just don't know because they don't want to know. You know what I mean? And we've just done 2 in the last, 6 weeks, 7 weeks, because we did Greedy.
Yep.
And then this movie. But I think more people know this movie. I think more people, like
this
you said,
is definitely more popular than Greedy for sure.
Right. I think people have probably been exposed to this on Comedy Central like you were. But they should go back and watch it, I guess, at least the unabridged version so that you can see the stuff that you
I'm sure I missed a whole bunch of it, but also it was like middle school when I watched it. So
true.
Stuff went over my head. I think that you also need things are so 80s, but I think people in their 20s and teens who are just like people that really want to do film or thinking about going into film or going to film school should watch 80s movies. It was a whole style and genre in and of itself, even though it encompassed multiple genres.
Of course. All right, Mike. So why don't you tell everybody about us?
We are Forgotten Cinema. You can find us on wherever you're listening to us now. Obviously, you're listening to us. Duh. If you're listening to us anywhere where you can, please feel free to rate, review, subscribe. All that really helps us out and spreads the word about our podcast. And if you're listening to us on our website or somebody else is showing you this podcast, you can find us on all podcast platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Amazon Music, Ghana Podcast. That's right. We're big in India, baby. Listen to us. Give us a listen. Give
World
us a
tour.
rate, review, subscribe. Coming at you.
And whoever's showing you this podcast, hey, man, thanks a lot, man. That's real. That's awesome. Thanks for showing our podcast. So season 10 has begun. Next week, we're fast forwarding from 87 to 2018.
Ooh.
We're doing Bad Times at the El Royale.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot.
I do write
This was
these
my
down. That is next week on Forgotten Cinema. Until then, I'm Mike Field.
I'm Mike Butler.
This has been Forgotten Cinema. Why? And this has been Forgotten Cinema. Wow.
Yeah, not summer anymore, man. Come on.
Sorry. And until then, I'm Mike Field.
I'm Mike Butler.
And this has been Forgotten Cinema.
Boom, boom.
Oh, yeah. Butler,
I gotta go change
keep your shirt on.
clothes. Yeah,
Keep
I gotta
your
go
shirt
change.
on.
Hold on.
Chill out.
I'm gonna somehow get my pants over my shoes, which I was very impressed with when he did that in the movie. I was like, damn.